Well, hi, everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and it is Friday lunchtime, which means it's time for us to start talking about coping with our feelings. And this has been an incredible week. I think we will all agree that regardless of what else is going on in the world, it just was an incredible week of history and change. And I think that I'm going to talk a little bit about how people felt about the inauguration, and it was so different, wasn't it? Because it had to be. And so I'm looking forward to talking a bit about that. But also, I want to talk a bit about I got sick this week, and that's, I don't like it when I get sick, and I don't think any of us do. But, it really affected me more than normal. And I'm still, as you may see, I'm still not quite right. And there's some of you going, you are never quite right, so. But I'm still not feeling 100%, but I'm a lot better. Let's put it that way. And so, maybe I should put a light on here. That's easier than it sounds, right? There we go. So I just wanted to have a really good talk about that as well. So here we go. First of all, for those of you who may be new, welcome. And I'm just saying hi, Jody, and hi, Trina. Trina's going, good to see you. Love the red lipstick. Actually, it's not red, but it's okay. If you think it is, it actually matches, it's more peachy, but it doesn't really matter. Thank you for the compliment. And, it's so funny, Trina, because I came here today without the lipstick because I've been bringing it and you haven't been here. And you're the one person that always asks me, what color is it? It's actually the Revlon lip balm, one of the colors that I bought. Hi, Iz. Good to see you. So for those of you who are watching for the first time, the people I'm talking to are part of the DearMamaSal extended family, and that's what we are. We're a group of people who get together 3 times a week and discuss. On Friday lunchtime, we discuss our feelings. Friday evening, we discuss life. And then Sunday afternoon, we discuss stress and things that have stressed us for the week. And we do it that way to make sure that we stay mentally healthy during the pandemic. And I'm pretty certain that we've all got lots of stories for this week, so I look forward to hearing them. I wanted to say that it has been a sort of challenging week on a lot of fronts for me this week. And I tried to think if there was one word, one feeling that I could give to this week, what would it be? And I decided the right feeling would be tired. And that's the feeling that I've had all week, that I am tired. But I'm pretty sure that's because I am sick. But also that I am grateful to be able to be talking to you today, because a couple of days ago, I don't think I could have done it, whereas now I'm feeling like a little bit stronger. And so I'm really happy for that. I'm feeling happy that I'm improved enough that I can do a broadcast. I wonder if that makes sense. And as some of you know, I always give thanks for those small victories, because, if we don't celebrate those small victories, then, we're really not going to enjoy the life at all. I wanted to really say a big congratulations to Autumn, who gave birth to the two little boys this week. They were Enoch and Elias, and Enoch was 8 pounds 3 ounces, and Elias 7.5 pounds. So I not only was so delighted that she had them, but that she bothered to write. And again, I talked to her quickly this morning and asked her to give the boys a gentle kiss from me. So wasn't that kind that she kept us in the loop? I don't know about the rest of you, but I was really touched that she did that. I'm sure she's got more than enough going on with the birth of the twins. So But I wonder if any of you felt that that was almost like family. It was, to me, it was just like, I felt very connected to Autumn for some reason. And, Autumn has not been a viewer for that long that I know of. And yet I felt very blessed that she considered us important enough to let us know. Hi, Melissa, good to see you. Welcome. And where are you from, Melissa? Country, region, whatever you like. I don't, have we seen you before? Probably. And if we haven't, how did you find us? Welcome. We're always delighted to see people. And by the way, if you are watching in the background, and I see that some of you are more than welcome to do that. And you don't ever have to talk to here in the group if you don't want to. But if you do want to, just understand that basically, if you talk in the group, I'm going to talk about what you write. And so if you don't want me to talk about it, please make sure at the beginning you say, Sal, don't talk about this. In other words, if you just want to tell the people watching in the group, but don't want me to talk about it. The reason is it's going to end up on the replay. And so that is very important for you to understand. Yes, Trina's saying a very cute picture of the babies that Autumn sent us. Yeah, and amazing to see the difference in size already, all right? And, that's understandable when you have twins, right? One's always gobbled up more food than the other one. But it is, I don't know, it was just a delightful picture. And it reminded me, of course, of the girls when Benji and Judy's twins, when they were born, which seems like a long time ago now, but I for some reason relived some of those moments. So if you had one word to describe your week in terms of feelings, what was the feeling of this week for you? And now that we've got some people in the room that we can all talk about it. And whilst people are typing that, I want to carry on just so that we're not waiting too long, because sometimes it takes a while for those comments to come through. I wanted to say that I was in shock. I had a feeling of real shock this week when, for those of you who don't know, my house caught fire back in September, and I'm living in rented accommodation until I can get back, which may not be until April. But the amazing thing is that this fire has uncovered other problems within the house that, about which I was not aware. And the one this week was, some of you, I don't know if I ever mentioned it online, but I noticed last winter that when I had the fire on, I could smell, I thought, residual burn off gas. And I didn't think I should be able to smell that inside the house. But, I spoke to the previous owner about it, and they basically said, no, it was fine, and da-da-da. Well, guess what? It wasn't. Hang on, I just want to show you what the problem is here. If I can find a pen. Where's my pen gone? Okay, plan B. I don't know if you can see this color, but let's see. So if, I think you can. So if this is the house, the fireplace inside the house is meant to have I think they call it a flue that goes up, and then, as you know, there's a vent out to the real world. Well, apparently, part of that pipe was missing. Literally, it was not venting outside. It was venting. It was venting back into the house for the large part. And obviously some would have been drawn up, but it was pretty scary. And I think I'll find the exact phrasing in a minute. But the guys working on my house said, quite honestly, it could have killed you. So how many of you are going, there was a reason why this fire had to happen? A reason why the fire had to happen is so that I will be safe. I now know all my electrical is safe. I know, you know what I mean, because it's all been double checked and everything. And so a really important thing to understand that even though, you know, being in a fire was horrendous and being away from my home for the last 4 months has been frustrating, can you see that there is an upside, that things are being found that need to be fixed, and I will be that much safer because of it? And I like to think that way. Okay, let's go back now. Trina's saying her one, if she had to come up with one word for the week, it would be roller coaster. That her daughter had to have a COVID test, but it was negative. But it was stressful waiting for the results. Yes, understandable. And Jodie's saying her word would be relieved. Relieved that the inauguration was free from unrest, and happy to see President Biden and VP Harris. Yeah, I'm going to talk about that a bit in a second. Anyway, see them sworn in. Yes, it was. I want to talk about the ceremony because I thought the ceremony was amazing, considering this, you know, everything that went on. And so when we look at it, if anybody else has got any feelings about this week, you know, please feel free to just put them down so that we can talk about them as well. All right, so here's the quote. Here's the quote from the contractor that checked out. Actually, it was the guy in charge of all the contractors. My project manager said, frankly, Sal, that missing pipe, gas pipe, could have killed you. So can you believe that? I mean, that's just like, wow. So I guess in a way, a relief would be a feeling that I have, that they did find this, and that I was courageous enough to talk to them about it, because it wasn't in an area where the fire damage had been. But I said, if you have to bring in the HVAC guys to check the furnace or do whatever, hi Nyasha, good to see you. If you have to bring the HVAC guys in, have them check that fireplace. I think there's something wrong. And I am so glad that I asked for that, even if it's going to cost me extra, because I could have just saved my own life by doing that. Isn't that amazing? So sometimes we have to be a little courageous and bite the bullet in terms of cost, and go with our gut. My gut I really felt there was something wrong, and there was. Now, as you listen to this, some of you might be feeling some level of anger. You know, why didn't the previous owner tell you, or whatever? What if that previous owner didn't know either? Think about that. What if that previous owner didn't know that? You know, so I can't be angry at the previous owner. I can only I can choose to just believe that it wasn't an intent to defraud me in any way, and just know that, hey, it is what it is. I need to get it fixed. Let me get on with my life. Trina's saying, also, Sal, you're spending this COVID winter in a warm apartment. Yes, I'm very grateful for that as well, as you know. And I must just say that you'd be amazed how much stuff I have got in here already, Trina. I mean, I keep looking around going, this is scary how much stuff I put in 4 months, and most of it is food related. Is it any wonder, right? Now, I also want to tell you that something really cute happened, and my feeling about that was how kind. The project manager, you know, we're starting to talk about things that have to be replaced and so forth. And one of the things he said, you know, how much stuff spoiled in the fridge. And I, you know, you know me well enough to know my integrity is a big thing with me. So I said, well, I know I had to throw out 5 pre-prepped meals. And, you know, so I said, let's say they were sort of $5 a piece, you know. And then he wrote back and said, okay, so we'll say that it was around about $500. And I wrote back and said, you know, I'd love to say that that's the value, but you know me better than that. And then he wrote back again and said, I'm putting this through on the claim, so I think that we need to say that, you know, the stuff that you may or may not know about at the moment is $500. And then I realized how kind that was. If you understand it, you know, this is a man he knows I've incurred extra expense because of the roof and now because of the heating thing. And then I just thought, you know something, I need to accept his kindness. And I said, thank you. Let's say that. And I said, I have no idea, you know, what happened inside my freezers because I have chosen not to open them. But when I do get to open them, I will know because, you know, you remember I keep a plastic glass in my freezers and I freeze it I put water in it and freeze it. And then I drop a coin on top. Now, the reason I do that, if ever there's a power cut or something, and if the water inside that plastic cup starts to melt, obviously the coin will drop down. And even when the freezer, you know, the electricity comes back on again, it will refreeze the water, but the coin will no longer be on top. It will have moved down. And that's a great way of telling how much thawing happened inside the freezer. And so I said, until I open up my freezers, I won't know how bad or, you know, whether I've had damage in there or not. And quite honestly, I don't even want to think about that until I go home. Oh, Trina, I want to tell you, it's a great idea. And I learned that, funny enough, in Africa, where obviously with the heat and everything else, it was really important to know whether your freezer had a serious breakdown or not. So literally, well, you get the idea, right? Just take I just use a plastic beaker and then fill it with water, freeze it, and after it's frozen, then put a coin on top. Doesn't have to be any particular coin. Just put the coin on top. And if after a power failure, you go back and see that the coin is still on top, maybe it very slightly changed, but still on top, you go, okay, that's fine. But if it's come down, depending on how far down it is, it'll tell you how much you've had a problem. I'm incredibly smart on a good day. Thank you very much, Nyasha, for that kind. Nyasha saying, Sal, that's smart. Yeah, but it works. And that's, you know, it's one of those simple things that works. Now, I don't know if any of you know this, but I'm quite excited. The new Mars rover, I think it's called Perseverance, it is going to be landing back on Mars on I think it's the 18th of February. And I don't know why I got excited about that. You know, can you imagine? We haven't done, you know, we've talked so much about politics for a year. And I suddenly thought, oh, isn't that nice? You know, we've got something else to talk about. That's such fun. Trina's saying, I've picked up so many life hacks from you. Well, Trina, I'm glad that you enjoy them. And I must admit, I love sharing them with you guys. But you know what I always think, Trina? Well, if it works for me, maybe my viewers would like to know about it as well. And, you know, I don't seem to run out of them, do I? I mean, I've always got another one to pass on to you. So that's a good one. Anyway, so isn't that exciting? We got another moon, actually Mars thing. That's a long way. Mars. I mean, it's not just the moon. I don't know why. It's sort of like, wow, that's going to be exciting. I definitely had a feeling about the inauguration, and I want to talk about that. But I was thinking, before that, before we talk about the joys of that for so many, and obviously not for everybody, I do any of you feel any compassion for the outgoing president? And I tried to, as I watched him and his wife leave the White House, I was thinking how devastating that must feel. You know, you've had 4 years of being the most powerful person in the world, and now you're about to leave. And I was trying to imagine, how that must feel. You know, you've had hot and cold running people around you. When I say that, you know, you just literally had to breathe and people, you know, and tell people what to do or whatever. And I don't know, to me, it was just like, I wonder what it feels like. I heard that ex-President Trump played golf yesterday, and I was thinking, well, that's not new. He's done that quite a bit. But I was thinking, I wonder what it feels like to do it without all that pressure of being the president, is like, or what it was like to wake up that first morning. You know, as a person without all that responsibility. Can you, do any of you have any compassion to imagine what that is like? And I was wondering how Mrs. Trump and Barron feel about it, you know, to be free of the fishbowl that they've had to live in, whether they liked it or not. They can go back to being the private people that they were, you know, before all of this. So I really gave quite a bit of thought to them and what their feelings must be. I hope they take a nice vacation somewhere, and maybe they just choose to, you know, have the vacation in Mar-a-Lago and just chill for a month. You know, they deserve it, that's for sure. So now then, for the first, I wanted to find out if some of you probably watched the inauguration, and if you did, I'm going to ask a couple of questions, but if you have any feelings about it, let me know. Oh, Nash is saying, I viewed a short video of him leaving the White House, and yes, definitely there was a little bit of sadness to it. I felt emotional when I saw them carrying out all their bags. I actually didn't see their bags being carried out, but you know, and I thought they could have done that privately as well, Nasha. They must have, you know, but anyway, maybe it was symbolic. You know, you have to think of it that way. But the other thing I was thinking about, imagine the feeling of total chaos in those few hours between, well, he actually was meant to leave at 8 o'clock and he didn't come out until about 8:20, I think. So between 8:20 and now when the time when incoming President Biden actually walked in that space of time, think about that. You want to think about your housework? In that space of time, they had to clear out everything to do with President Trump, ex-President Trump now, and then sanitize the whole of the White House, because you know they weren't good about wearing masks, sanitize the whole of the White House from top to bottom, and then take all the new first family's things and put them where they wanted them. You know, they had to change the desk, they had to change the chairs, they had to change everything in the family's residence. You think about how much work that is. And the next time you're a little bit overwhelmed by the housework, I want you to remember that. It's just like, and then, you know, I heard that all the staff that went in to the West Wing type staff, they all went in with their own box of stuff, but they also had their own individual box of basic supplies, you know, a stapler, a punch, a ruler, some pens, pencils, whatever. They all had their own little individual stationery box as well. And it was so well thought out. And I just thought, wow, it just must have been amazingly chaotic. And, not only that, but they had to change all the pictures on the walls. You think, really? I don't know, I get stressed out even thinking about it. So the one memory I have, to start with about the inauguration was I felt so sorry. I don't know why. I felt so sorry for Tom Hanks, who was the coordinator, the MC, if you like, for the event, because he looked cold to me. But he did a wonderful job. But there was something about the way he was speaking. I'm going, it's cold there. You can tell. Because it was just like, wow. And he had really nice warm gloves on, but it was his face that looked cold to me. I don't know if anybody else noticed that, but I thought he was I don't know about you guys, but I was so glad they picked him. Yeah, I'm going to get to Amanda in a minute, Trina, because that was a real highlight for everybody, I'm sure. So I looked at it and I thought, gosh, I hope he doesn't come down, with a really bad cold. But I don't know, he was just the right person to me. I don't know about you guys, but to me, Tom Hanks is a man who I've always thought doesn't appear to take himself too seriously. He loves his craft, if you like. He loves being an actor. But he also is just a genuine sort of guy. And I was just so pleased that they picked him to do that job. I also was absolutely amazed, quite honestly. That was the word that I'd have to say. I'm impressed as well. The feeling of being impressed with how they managed to do that. Think about this, how they managed to do that when 2 weeks earlier, when you think about it, there had been the riots and they had to clean up the whole of the Capitol. They had to clean up the whole of the mall, everything, and then be ready. And I thought, boy, they must have worked morning, noon, and night, because it was extra work over and above what was already, must have been a huge task. And to do it in such a way that was meaningful. How, if you can't have people down the mall, can you imagine sitting in on those discussions? We can't have people in the mall because of the COVID thing. So what are we going to do on the mall? And can you imagine all the ideas that must have come out about what to do? And I don't know about you, I loved the lights on either side that touched my soul, in honor of those who had died. That really touched my soul. I thought that was really a nice touch to do that. And all the flags, obviously. And, that the flags themselves told their own story. There was a rainbow section, to honor people who were gay and transgender and everything else. And I thought that was, that was symbolic to have that there. And it was just like a lot of thought had been put in, I felt, to what went down the mall. So I was really, really impressed. Now, they had some great songs, obviously, and great artists. I don't know about you. I don't know which your favorite act was. But to me, to hear Bon Jovi sing one of my favorite songs back from when I was, teenager, from, well, actually early 20s, I guess, but, Let the Sun Shine In. From Aquarius, the stage show Aquarius. I I want to tell you that really, I thought that was such a great song to sing. And so what was your favorite, for those of you who watched it, what was your favorite act? Now I'm going to go on to Amanda, Trina, because I don't know about you, but whoever thought that a 22-year-old would steal the show at the inauguration? But boy, did she deserve that honor. Everything about her. But I found out some things about her. Not only was the poem absolutely amazing, but everything about her was amazing. I don't know if you know, but that beautiful yellow coat that she wore, it was a double-breasted coat from the Italian designer Prada. And also the red satin headband also was from Prada. But I also heard that her choice of coat was actually a nod to First Lady Jill Biden, who had asked her to speak at the inauguration and had praised her for her decision to wear yellow on another occasion because it was bright and cheerful. And I thought you'd all like to know that, she wore that yellow because Jill Biden liked it. And I don't know about you, it was amazing. Now, did any of you hear about her jewelry? I did a bit of research this week. Yes, her use of her hands was wonderful, wasn't it? She is, without a doubt. I've always said it's not what you say, but how you say it. And I think everything about her performance was that she is an absolutely talented performer. And I am certain, my instant comment, I was talking to Jodie at the time, and I said, this is your next Maya Angelou. And it was so funny how that came back, and I'll read that in a minute. Let me just see. Trina's saying she loved J-Lo. Yes, absolutely. I thought that she did a great job. I gasped when Lady Gaga came up dressed the way, and then I laughed and went, what do you expect? It's Lady Gaga. It was just like, yeah. If you invite Lady Gaga, you must expect drama because that's who she is, right? And I also thought, who was it that sang in white? Demi DeVito, was it? You know who I'm talking about. Anyway, I thought that outfit was beautiful. So anyway, let's carry on. The jewelry that Amanda wore were actually given to her by Oprah Winfrey, who is a great fan of hers, apparently. And I read that Oprah actually gave her the ring in the shape of a caged bird, and also the pair of gold hoop earrings, also Greek designer. But somebody else was in white other than J-Lo. I can see her now. It was a very different outfit with a train behind it. Somebody will help me on that one. Isn't it Demi Lovato? I never can pronounce her last name. Anyway, I'm certain somebody will help me out here. Jodie's saying that Lady Gaga's outfit was actually quite toned down for Lady Gaga. Yes. Katy Perry. Yes. Thank you. It was, you're right. And it was an incredible dress. I have no idea when. Anyway, any other favorite moments for you? I always like to see Bruce Springsteen because I think he's an iconic part of inaugurations. I don't know why for me, but he's sort of like he always seems to be involved in things like that. Can you imagine the feeling of getting that telephone call? I don't care how famous you are, getting a telephone call that says, we would like to invite you to perform at the inauguration. Can you imagine what that feeling's like, especially the first time? And I presume they all donate their time. You know what I mean? I don't think they get paid. What do you think? Yeah, Michelle Obama looked awesome. But, you know, isn't it funny how even with everybody wearing masks, you could still, the personalities still come through. There was something about Michelle Obama going like that to somebody, and I went, yeah, she hasn't changed one bit. 3 of them wore purple, so that's interesting. We need to know that that's apparently inauguration colors. And, you know, I thought, you know, I was sort of watching out to see what is the theme color. And I got a feeling that, did you notice that the people who wore monochromatic outfits, you know, one color, really stood out? I'm thinking about the Biden grandchildren, all wore a very simple one color, but it looked so stylish. And I think that's something to remember, that, you know, sometimes less is definitely more when you're talking style. Unless you're Lady Gaga, in which case, you know, you go. But nobody was, that I can think of, was wearing, you know, lots of mixed colors. You know, it was just very classical. And, you know, to me, I like to take that as a learning lesson. I don't know if you've noticed, I like to see things like, what are news anchors wearing these days, right? Because they have the choice of wearing just about anybody's work and styles. But I like to see what they're wearing, because they get obviously the pick of what's going around. And if you notice, mostly they wear very classical type things. When I say classic things, they're not very out there, but they're very put together. And that's a thing to remember, that, again, less is more. So we talk about coping with our feelings, and I'm pretty certain that regardless which side of the political spectrum you sit, that this would have been a week of huge feelings. And I wonder if any of you, you know, had any extreme feelings this week. Jody is just confirming that the performances were not paid. Yeah. That's what I thought, Jody, that normally it's an honor to be invited. And so the performers, you know, donate their time. It's a bit like, I remember in England, you know, the Royal Command performances, right? They pay for the transport and the accommodation and everything, but, you know, the actual performance is your gift, if you like, to the nation. While we're moving on with this, I want to just remind everybody that coping means that we invest our own conscious effort to solve personal and interpersonal problems in order to try and master, minimize, or tolerate stress and conflict. So if any of you have had any stress or conflict this week, feel free to talk about them. I am aware that we have got birthdays coming up. We've got Erin's coming up on the 26th, and we have got Becca on the 28th. And obviously, we're going to add the babies Enoch and Elias in, I think it was the 20th that they were born, right? And so we'll add them into our birthday calendar so that we can remember to wish them well every year. So did anybody have any feelings this week that they can discuss, you know, good, bad, or the ugly, you know, because it's really important that we talk about whatever it is. Yeah, Jody's just confirming it was the 20th. For those of you who don't know, Jody is our admin. She's my brain. And she does a great job at it. So I was thinking that it's been a roller coaster week, without a doubt, for me. Not only because of all the news and stuff. I was thinking, can you imagine for a second that you are a news anchor? Can you imagine what it must feel like to know that you are not going to be bombarded 24/7 with just politics, that maybe we will have, I don't know about the rest of you, maybe we will have some time for some regular news now. Are any of you looking forward to that? Get a feeling of, shoo, now let's get the news back. And I don't know about the rest of you, but I would like to see a break in this 24/7 politics thing. It's time to move on and go back to, a normal news broadcast, not just, I think, in my view, I get a feeling that we became less informed and more manipulated during that time. When I say less informed, I really don't think that we got enough of the regular news coming through, to balance our lives. Everything became an editorial rather than, just a news broadcast. And I don't know how the rest of you feel about that. And it'd be interested to hear your viewpoint. Trina's saying we are still in full lockdown over here. Yes, I am too. With numbers growing every day. No schools open, no restaurants, no bars, no hairdressers, nothing open, only food, shopping, and pharmacies. Okay, that is full lockdown. I must admit that we still have restaurants open, but, obviously with very strict social distancing. And I might not even go for my usual Chinese meal on Sunday. I think until I'm more aware of, is what I have just, a regular flu, or is it something more serious? Until I know that for sure, I'm not going to be going and mixing with too many people, just in case. But I think what I have I think what I had was just a touch of regular flu. But I must admit, it was not fun for a couple of days. And as you can probably see and hear, I'm still struggling a little bit, but I'm here. So did any of you do any exercise this week that you have any feelings about? Or did any of you mean to do it and didn't? Trina's saying only takeouts, and by the way, Trina's in Ireland. So Trina's saying only takeouts and only travel 5 kilometers from home, wear masks everywhere. Yes. Oh, that's interesting. Jody received an email today from the CDC to schedule her vaccination. That is awesome to hear, Jody. I was hoping that you would be on that list pretty soon. Isn't that wonderful? I wonder how they do that. Do they get the doctors to sign in who their vulnerable patients are, or I wonder, or maybe age? No, it can't be age related with you because you're still quite young. But I'm delighted to hear that. And again, are any of you planning not to have it? And which is your right, but I'm still up in the air about how soon I will have mine, in as much as I think there are people more deserving than me, or more deserving than I can hear my mother screaming at me, than I am. My mother's screaming at me. She's been dead a long time. But she's saying to me, finish the sentence. If you want to know whether it's me or I, finish the sentence. So more deserving than I am, not me am. So there are people more deserving than I, but on the other hand, I'm a survivor, so there's part of me that wants to have it as quickly as I can, just to give me a fighting chance. So Jody, and how soon are you going to have it? And I was, pretty angry to hear that reserve stock of vaccinations was in fact not there when things happened, but we'll find out more, I'm sure. Oh, Trina's saying, I think we will have to travel. Really? And that requires a lot of stress, I would think, Trina. Right, Jody is saying the doctors have to verify which patients have 2 or more high-risk factors. They send that information in. If over 65, it's automatically available starting January the 26th. Right, that is amazing. So I'm trying to keep check to see when I am entitled. I got a feeling it's going to be fairly soon because I have age, history, and a couple of things going for me. So I think I'll be fairly high on that list as well. Not as high as you, Jody, but I think I'll be hearing about that as well. So were any of you overjoyed this week? Did any of you have a moment where you felt, overjoyed? And one of the things that I asked you for last week was to start really stopping and writing down when you have things happen to you that are either good, bad, or ugly. And I wonder if any of you did that. And because one of the things I was trying to say, that the reason that I can talk every week about my feelings is because I write them down during the week. I just, I keep my framework for the broadcast open during the week. And every time something happens that pleases me or doesn't, I just jot a note into my framework so that I can talk about it. And I really want to tell you that it helps you realize how many good things happen, because I notice that mostly the things I write down are good things, not bad things. Now, by the way, did any of you feel like a klutz this week? This morning, I woke up, and as I said, if there was one word to describe the week for me, it was tired. But this morning, I woke up and I went to make my usual coffee, with the latte foam on top. And I did something I don't think I've ever done before, which is, I've got a mini blender, like a sort of individual smoothie thing that I mix the milk with to foam it before I put it in the microwave. I forgot to put the top on it and turn the blender on, if you can believe it. You can imagine the words I used were pretty short, but I did start to laugh and go, okay, I guess we're not awake yet. But I did feel like a klutz, I must say. Trina's saying, I saw daffodils growing today during a walk. That is amazing. That is, it does not always feel so good. Hold on, everybody. I don't know who that is. I'll have to get back to them later. Yeah, Jody's saying that, hang on a second, maybe. Oh, good, they got tired. That backtracking to the inauguration, she was saying it was a joyful day for both Lionel and herself, Lionel being her husband. Yeah, and it's amazing how I get great joy out of keeping notes on the things that make me happy. Also, Jody's saying she is very happy that they found a secondhand Wii this week. Now, Wii is, that console that you buy that plugs into your television, and you can play games with, or you can do exercises and things with. And Jody, I noticed that you're also still doing the virtual walks as well. And that is awesome. I found 2 days without exercising really, I could feel the difference. And, you know, whoever knew that would be my reality. But so did any of you have the joy of exercising? I want to give a thumbs up and applause to Lauren in Tasmania. She actually did a boxing thing this week and was saying how much she enjoyed it. And the thing to remember is that Lauren is in a wheelchair. She's wheelchair bound. And so she did a boxing exercise with her physiotherapy people and said she absolutely loved it. I got to answer this guy, people. Just hold on a second. Hello?
Hello. Hi, is it Amazon delivery?
Sorry?
Hi, it's delivery from Amazon and Halogon delivery.
This is Amazon?
Yeah, Amazon delivery.
Okay, just hold on 1 second. Can 152?
152?
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you. I'm glad I answered that. So, what was I saying? Oh yes, Jody saying that she loved them. Okay, hold on, people. Hang on. Okay. Life interrupts. I forgot I have to let them in. Yeah. So, this is definitely a day that I'm not functioning well. So, in terms of the walking, oh, isn't that interesting? Jody's saying, I love the virtual walking and I recommended it during my doctor's appointment so she could let other patients know. That's very generous of you. That's why I let you guys know about the virtual walking, because you don't have to even leave the house these days. You just need this whole thing about this. Hang on, I've got to get the parcel now. Thank you. Okay. And I know what you're saying. All right, so how many of you are going, what's in there, Phil? Anybody? Gosh, I can't believe it wasn't very well sealed. Look at that. No tape on it. Oh, Trina's saying that she's noticed that the days are getting longer. Unboxing time. Not part of my plan for today. Now then, anybody know what it is? I have wanted one of these for the longest time, and I will show you why in a minute. Hi, Kimmy, good to see you. All right, so this is like a folding bucket. Okay, got it? And then, such fun. Hang on. And this is a little turbine thing that drops in it. And so what you've got is a mini little washing machine, which actually is bigger than I thought it would be. I wasn't expecting it to be this big. But you're asking me, oh. So I'll go back to bed. But, you know, you're asking me, why do I have this? You know, when you don't want to use a, you know, I want to quickly wash out something, but I don't want to, you know, wait 3 days until I next put the washing machine on. So this is just, you can literally just, you know, plug this in and then just do a quick wash. And then when you've finished, it must be possible, Sal. Yeah, I did it. And then if you notice this little bit actually has suckers on it so that it stays like, oh, it's fallen apart already. There we go. And then there you go. You just put it away and it takes up just that much room. What do you think? Now, Kimmy is saying, while I'm unboxing here, Kimmy is saying that she actually is walking while she's listening to me. That's a clever use of time. I found now that now that I'm in the habit of doing it, that I now will go, okay, I'd like to catch up on the news, and I'll put the news on and I'll just check the time and I'll start walking. And then, you know, after half an hour, I go, okay, fine, that's good. However, I do find, and I've got to say this, that when I do it on the Wii, it is more absorbing to me, you know, because there's a rhythm to it and there's a, you know, there's stuff going on. And I definitely don't feel that I wasted my money on the Wii. I'm glad that you like it. What can I say, people? Jody's saying that you know, that my unboxing thing looked like a giant popcorn bowl. Yes, and it folds away easily too. Yes. Oh, interesting. Kimmy's saying I had a metal washer like that when I was in my 20s. Well, there, you know, I'm so aware that some days I just want to clean, you know, something quickly, but I just don't want to wait until I've got a whole load in the washing machine. And so I thought, well, then, you know, I think I'm going to get myself a little mini one. By the way, for those of you who are, you know, thinking about maybe traveling again, wouldn't that be a clever thing to take camping, or even if you are traveling, just, you know, for a hotel room or something, that you have it with you. So, Jody, can you remind me to put a link into that, because I think it's clever. So, oh, it was Trina that said the popcorn. Oh, yeah. And yeah, there's something about the way that it folds up and doesn't take up any room that I thought was a clever idea. Now, my big joy this week, and I actually was overjoyed, was that I managed to construct the easel. For those of you who don't know, Benji and Judy sent me an easel and some canvases and paints and stuff. Now I put it to the side here so I could turn my computer and show you. Just hold on. With the way that I'm clutching things today, this could be a challenge. Can you see it? There it is. Whoops. So, in all its glory. But For those of you who know about things that need some assembly, this was definitely a lot of assembly. And not only that, a lot of moving parts, and it's not made of plywood. It is solid beech. And I want to tell you, I really felt my back. I literally could only do a little bit each day because it was so painful on my back to keep bending down and doing things and getting it together. But and then I was sick, so that didn't help as well. But the good news is it is done. Yeah, Jody's saying that she's got a little square silicone tub like that on her Amazon cart right now. That's good. Well, I just thought it was a good idea for me. I keep thinking, what would make my life easier at the moment? All right, and also, I'm a gizmo person, so I try to think about what little gizmo thing. But to me, it's just like I've always wanted to see if they work, and I'll let you know if it does. And in fact, I might even do a little test run with it this evening for you, for those who'd like to see it work. You'd remind me about that, Jody, if you will. So the easel is now put together, and Jody is saying that some should have a label which says more than complete assembly required. Yes. The other thing was, I think the people who do the instructions on these things don't live in the same world as I do. Do any of you relate to that? The instructions on this thing were purely visual, and the visuals were not good. I've got to say that. So they were so bad that I had to take it apart 3 times to get it to work. Now you know what feelings I had about that. And then I ended up having to go online and find a completely different set of instructions. And by the way, I'm noticing that when I have something as complicated as this, I don't necessarily want to see the video. It takes too long. I want to see the written instruction. And I wonder if any of you agree with me. There's certain things where it's fine, show me the video, but there are other things where you're going, I don't want to see a video. I don't want to spend 10 minutes trying to get to the bit that I want. I want to be able to scroll down and go, okay, that's where I am. That's the bit I can't work out. And I wondered whether any of you feel the same way. That it's like some days you need the visual, some days you need the written. And while you're answering that one, I found hopefully some quotes you'll enjoy about moving forward, because we are now on chapter 1, that's January, and page 22, because it's the 22nd of January, and we're moving on with our new year. So one of the quotes I found was, "No one can ever take your memories from you. Each day is a new beginning. Make good memories every day." So what good memories did you make last week? As we're heading towards the end of chapter 1 of 2021. And by the way, wasn't it wonderful that yesterday was 1/21/2021? It was just like a really important day. And so I definitely would say that building the easel, yeah, Trina, you're so right. Trina's saying building the easel took a lot of patience. I think, Trina, would it be fair to say that achieving any goal takes a lot of patience? And the reason that most people give up on their goals is they don't have the patience for them. I think the number of you who have tried virtual walking realize that actually it is quite enjoyable. You've never taken the concentration to just turn the world off for that length of time. All right, and that's what you need to do, right? Is just turn the world off and forget about what needs cleaning and tidying and doing, and just go, I'm going to take half an hour for me, and I'm going to put on a really nice walk, and I'm going to enjoy it. That's a good point as well. Jodie's saying, I can relate to that. This is the visual versus written. And she said, it depends on how my fibro fog is on any given day. Some days I require both written and visual. Yes. And I think that's, it's really important that we understand that. And I, without a doubt, know that so many of us will forever feel grateful to the internet for being able to give us the visuals and the written at the same time. Martin Luther King said, take the first step in faith. You don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. As you know, when I started with the we, I struggled to do 10 minutes, then 15. And now I feel that I'm not really giving it enough energy. If I do, the very minimum I do is 30 minutes now. And then I try to do a little bit more. So I think like anything else, it's building up the mental feeling of I am worth this. It is not a waste of my time. Does that make sense to you? And you need to get that in your mind. I need to take half an hour for me. And the best half an hour I can do is just stop everything and just walk at my own pace, for half an hour. Just use my muscles and not my brain. And I find that having some music going, I'm not really somebody that has music on all the time, but I do like a rhythm because I think that stops you from slowing down or whatever. I find, and also the research has shown that if you're keeping to a certain rhythm, it is much better in terms of burning calories than, doing very fast and then, oh, I'm exhausted, let me slow down a bit. And then, oh, let me go faster and then I'll slow down. To actually just literally go like this at a certain rhythm for a longer time is much better for your body. Now, I'm going like this because one of the things that I keep explaining to people is you don't even, if you can't, if you don't have use of your legs, and a lot of my viewers don't, you don't have to have use of your legs. You just need to do this. And I quite honestly found that amazing that I could prove that if I did that, it becomes aerobic if I do it well enough, right? And I sort of imagine myself being a power walker. That's about the speed I go, like this. And it is amazing how you're thinking that's not exercise, Sal. Well, I got news for you. I can prove that it is. And I can actually push my heart rate up into cardio, just standing in place doing that. Isn't that amazing? So Kimmy's saying that she loved the inauguration. Yes, we just talked about that. And she's saying, the night after the inauguration, I got 9 hours sleep. I could not believe it. Why do you think that was, Kimmy? And whilst Kimmy's answering that, Carl Bard said, although no one can go back and make a brand new start, anyone can start from now and make a brand new ending. So how many of you feel that this is, time for you to start again on something? I cannot tell you how different it is to have the discipline to make that time every day. And I do find that doing it within your routine is a good idea. In other words, I get up in the morning, make my coffee, drink my coffee, and then exercise before I go and get showered and dressed. So that's important. Trina's saying, I helped my mother-in-law today, who's 84, take her first step and ring her phone company to get them to connect broadband because she wanted to and is ready to learn. Wow. We've been saying it for years. You're talking about doing we? Or she's going to do virtual walking. I want to tell you, I was thinking, why don't I like my Wii so much that I was thinking, if I end up in an old age facility, I want to have that with me still. All right, I want to have it with me so that I can exercise. It has really become part of my life. Oh, Trina's saying the internet. Yes, I think it's wonderful that somebody at 84 is prepared to get onto the internet. Can you imagine how scary that is? But if she is still, it will help her mental capacity as well, Trina. I think that's the thing we have to encourage people, which is please keep playing the games. Please keep aware that the more that you do these things, it's like if you don't use it, you'll lose it. All right. You need to keep challenging your brain. However difficult that was to put the easel together, and boy, it looked so simple, and it wasn't. However easy that looked, do you understand? It required a lot of thinking. It required a lot of other things. And also, I got the joy of achieving it. It also took a lot of I be broken, because my back was really painful. But, it was just like, I think that we all need to be aware how important it is. Oh, Trina's saying she wants to do Zoom. Yes, she wants to communicate. And I think that's really important, that we help each other communicate. F. Scott Fitzgerald of the Great Gatsby and such said, it's never too late to become who you want to be. I hope you live that life, a life that you're proud of. And if you find that you're not, I hope you have the strength to start over. So let me ask you, do you feel that you are living the best life you can for you at the moment? Here in chapter 1, page 22. Do you feel you're living your best life under the circumstances? Oh, interesting. Thank you, Kimmy. Kimmy is saying that the reason she thinks she slept so well was because she was happy. Isn't that amazing? And so I think that's something to remember. Do things that make you happy. Right? Because when you relax, because you're happy, it affects the way you sleep. It affects everything. The Buddha said there are 2 mistakes one can make along the road to truth: not going all the way and not starting. And how do you feel about being more truthful this year? How do you feel about not pretending as much this year? Not pretending that things are okay when they're not. How do you feel about being more honest about what is upsetting you? Or who is upsetting you? How do you feel about just being more truthful that people hurt you? And in a quiet way, making sure that they know that. I found the word ouch is really useful. When people say things to me that hurt me, I normally just say ouch. And they go, what? And I go, well, I don't know if you meant it to, but that quite hurt. And I thought I should let you know. Yes, that's what I was saying, Kimmy. Kimmy is saying the same thing about the inauguration. It was just such a nice day, and the celebration was so beautiful. Everything was so beautiful. And to think how much of that they had to do in 2 weeks. Can you imagine having to tidy up the whole of the Capitol, and clean everything up? It was just, there was so much that they had to do in such a short, over and above the normal. And that's really, and they had all of the grandstand sort of area, already covered with the white stuff and everything that all got ripped off in the riots, that all had to be replaced. And so you go, gosh, it must have been such a big job. And they made it look so simple and easy and flawless. I don't think I have seen anything like that. And how about this one? How many of you feel this to be true for you? That sometimes, and Lao Tzu said this, sometimes new beginnings are often disguised as painful endings. And so, we need to understand that sometimes we need to accept the pain because it will help us feel the joy. Trina's saying, I said no today when I was asked to do something and it felt good. Yes. And no is a complete sentence, right? You don't have to justify why you said no. Could you do X, Y, and Z? No. But, how many of you going, it's keeping your mouth shut after the no that's difficult? Yeah, well, the reason is no is good enough, right? Jody's saying, I feel I'm living my best life under the circumstances. You can't ask for more than that, Jody. She goes on to say, it's my job to find joy in each day and make myself happy. And when I'm happy, I can give more of me to my friends, my family, and that brings me joy. Trina, adding to the fact that she said no, said, and it was to her mother. Wow. How did mother react to that one? She's probably not used to hearing no. C. Joy Bell C said, no, this is not the beginning of a new chapter of my life. It's the beginning of a new book. If that first book is already closed, ended, and tossed into the seas, and this new book is newly opened and has just begun. Look, it's the first page, and it's a beautiful one. Trina's saying that when her mother heard the word no, she had an open mouth. Was she speechless? I doubt it. And mothers are not known for being speechless. I love that quote. Jody, could you remind me? I'd like to put that one up on the Facebook page because I think that's beautiful. If you just put C Joy Bell C, or just put Joy Bell, that'll tell me what to look for when afterwards. And how about this one? If any of you messed up anything last week and feeling a bit of a loser because of it, Henry Ford, I always loved the way that he thought about things. And this is what he said. He said, failure is an opportunity to begin again more intelligently. Isn't that beautiful? I want to tell you that every day when I was building the easel, I kept going until I hit a roadblock. And a roadblock that I couldn't overcome easily. And then I went, okay, that's enough. And then what I would do is I would leave the construction of the easel, and then I would start researching to try and find out, okay, why am I stuck here? What am I not getting? And then I'd research it so that when I started again the next time, I'd know exactly what the next step was. And that's the whole thing. I was more intelligent when I went to start it again. And then the next day I would build it until I hit another roadblock, and then I'd play around, because I'm pretty good at constructing things. That's what made me quite confused. But this was, it's very well designed, like everything else in life. I could build another one quite quickly, right? Because everything's easy to do once you know how to do it. And you didn't realize that you'd put something there upside down until you try to get it to work, and you'd go, that doesn't work. And then you'd have another look at the picture and go, oh, I guess that's upside down. Or they didn't have it, the picture wasn't good enough that you could see that there was a wrong way of doing it. So Kimmy's saying that, she's been exercising. And so she said, it's been all overcast today and I started feeling down. So I exercise or I clean. That's clever. That's a good use of down days. Well done, Kimmy. And she's saying she's trying to make macrame now, or macrame, depending on which country you're in. Boy, I have fond memories of the 70s making that stuff. And training. I was in Africa at the time, and I got all the, the wives of the servants that lived in the area. I got them all making them as well and selling them. I started them on a little cottage industry to show them they could make extra money. And I literally taught them how to do it, and came up with some designs and bought them the string for their first ones and said, okay, the first one is for you so you can learn how to do it. And then I fronted them the money to buy the string for the second one. And then, when they sold it, they came and then bought, more string. And then that's how we did it. And it was just, I don't know, it gave me such joy to show them that they could actually make that extra money. And they made quite a bit of money. So yeah, good for you. It's, what I like about doing macrame? Okay, it's knotted string. Okay, hang on a second. See if we can find you a picture. Because that you'll all go, oh yeah, that stuff. Okay, hold on. Okay. Just any minute now. Hold on. Okay. That would be what we're talking about. Now, I don't know what Kimmy is making, but it's like the way in which you knot the string. But you can make all sorts of different things with it. Oh, I've never seen that before. Look at that. This is a Christmas tree done with macrame. That's clever, Jody. Got to remember that. That is clever. Note, please, Jody, for the follow-up. See if I can find something else for you. But it's actually the art of I'm trying to see if, oh yeah, here's a wall hanging. Oh no, it's not. It's actually, it is a planter, but it's a very complicated one. So you get the idea. Kimmy, very good use of your hands. And Jody, that's something to think about with your problem with your rheumatoid arthritis and everything, that maybe doing things like macrame, which is bigger, is going to be easier for you. I know you've got limited use of your hands, but that's an idea. And I don't believe in coincidences. So thank you, Kimmy. So what is it, talking about that Henry Ford quote, what is it you want to start again this week more intelligently? Something you didn't do too well last week, but you'd like to go back and do it more intelligently this week. Anything? Yeah, and what if you start making those Christmas tree type ones, Jody, ready for Christmas? Yeah, get Lionel to pick you up some white string and, you know, a couple of twigs would work really well. It is hard on your hands, Kimmy, I agree, doing it, but also it is good use of your hands. Oh, thank you, Trina. Trina's saying that she wants to eat healthier. She didn't do too well on that last week and wants to improve it. I totally agree. I've done much better. I know this sounds insane, but I was really struggling to get my blood glucose under control after the Christmas season. So my blood glucose has been out of control for far too long. Out of control, like sort of close to diabetic. And so what I am doing is, obviously, it's quite a simple fix, Sal. You just got to put the right food into your mouth and limit the sugars. But, I'm also aware that I've got so much stuff that I bought for the Christmas stuff, and I overbought, of course, and now I don't want to waste it. Do any of you relate to that? So what I'm trying to find out is a healthy balance. In other words, yes, I can bake cookies, but now I need to package them up and freeze them and allow myself a couple of cookies each day. And yes, I can have chocolate. The only thing is I need to make them and allow myself a couple every day. All right. And so that's really the trick, is I can make them once a week and then, and then just have a couple every day. And if I eat them all on one day, then that's it for the week. So and that's something that Jody taught me that I think is so important, that regardless of what our limitations are, we can still live. We just have to do it in moderation. And that is really important, to feel that you have that control. Yes, Jody is saying that's where her cupcakes are living now, in the freezer camp. Yes, and that is the thing. I'm learning to use my freezer as a deterrent, if you like. And I also found that having cookies, just 2 cookies in a little baggie in the freezer, is a good idea, because it's like, okay, and I'm allowed to have cookies, so I bring out my 2 cookies and I put them on the countertop and for a little while, and by the time I want to eat them, they are thawed and ready to go and fresh. That sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? After frozen, they're fresh. Oh well. There's an American Indian proverb that says, no river can return to its source, yet all rivers must have a beginning. One of the things I talk about, and I'm sorry I can't find my proper pen here, but never mind, we'll keep doing the best we can. One of the things that I talk about a great deal is the feeling of accomplishment when you start again. And in other words, you remember I said the way that I did the easel was not to get upset with it. Just every time I hit a major block, I said, okay, that's it for today. I've done my bit for the day, and I'll keep doing that in one step at a time until it's done. And one of the things I've always said to people is, if you are at A and you are trying to go to B, okay, every little step you take takes you one step closer to B. Even if that step ends up being difficult, you have learned this much. And so then when you start again, you start from this point. This is your new A. Do you understand what I'm saying? And what I think happens to most people and their goals is they start, but the first time they hit a roadblock, they think, oh, no, it's too difficult. I'm not going to do this. That's not my thinking, as some of you know. My thinking is, okay, I obviously need to learn a bit more before I take the next step. And that's how I do things. So I encourage you to understand that you will never fail at it. At least you tried it. And then you'll find sometimes you need to take a bit of a break, and then you can try it again. And you go, okay, how far can I go this time? And you'll surprise yourself. How about this one? Nothing in the universe can stop you from letting go and starting again. Nothing in the universe can stop you from that. So let go of what you didn't do last week. Let go of, I'm looking at, I really didn't get the place tidy. I planned to, but, and then I'm going, okay, you got sick. Yeah, but look at, and going, doesn't matter. And do any of you have a feeling of frustration this week? I'm beginning to feel frustrated that I'm not at my home. Why? You understand it would be about now that I start planting seedlings and things ready for my garden. And I'm going, okay, what do you need? And I'm going, well, I need seeds. And but then I'm going, but I've got seeds, but they're all packed up. And I'm going, so you haven't got seeds. You will not see those seeds until maybe April or May, depending on how long it takes to unpack everything. So therefore, it's going to be too late. You need new seeds, and those other seeds can wait until the following year. Makes sense. So that's on my list now, buy new seeds. And start here. Yeah, I'm going to grow them on my balcony if necessary. And what I've done, and you won't be surprised to hear this, because you guys know me well, I've actually bought some big white plastic bags, and I'm going to tape those to the patio doors from my bedroom. And you're going, why? And I'm going, I will then have a mini greenhouse. I'm going to make a mini greenhouse on my patio. And the heat from the bedroom going through the glass will, help keep that a little bit warmer than the temperature, and therefore it should work. But, I'm going to try just to see if it does. Right, Jody's saying, I'm frustrated that my insurance company told me that my lidocaine patches were covered 100%, only to find that it's limited to certain conditions. And I gather that your condition isn't one of them. Would that be true, Jody? Well, she's answering that. How about this one? I discovered that a fresh start is a process. A fresh start is a journey that requires a plan. So have you planned to do anything new this year? Or have you started doing something new this year that you hadn't even planned to do? Because I find sometimes I am just driven to do it. Out of, suddenly I wake up one day and go, I've been thinking about that for a long time, but I think today is the day I'm going to do it. And I haven't planned to do it at all. It's just like, okay, today apparently is the day to do it. Some of us think holding on makes us strong, but sometimes it is the letting go that makes us strong. So let go of what you haven't done. Start again. And Plato said, the beginning is the most important part of the week. Loud. Very big mosquito. Don't know if you could hear that through the microphone. But you think about that. It's Friday, but you can start the week again today. If you've, not done what you wanted to do, you can start again. You got another week starting today, if you're lucky. Jody's saying, no, it's not on the list. I can still get them to cover the counter. It was a lot of hassle for my doctor and for me. After they said yes, they're covered. Okay, so it was extra hassle, but you didn't quit on it, and therefore you got it. Well done. Just because it wasn't on their list. And Jody, I think it's the not quitting on yourself that I'm noticing. That even though they said, that it wasn't on the list, you didn't stop there. You carried on until you got what you needed. How do you like this one? Does it bring up anything for you? Nourish beginnings. Let us nourish beginnings, not because things are blessed, but the seeds of all things are blessed. The blessing is in the seed. Isn't that true? The blessing is in the seed. How long have I been thinking about getting one of these? Probably a year. But it was, now I get to play with it. That's going to be fun. And so to me, that's really going to be very useful to me, quite honestly. I noticed that it is charged with a USB. So that limits where I can use it, I guess. But yeah, I can make a plan. It's going to end up on the counter in my bathroom at the moment, I think. How about this one? Be willing to be a beginner every single morning. Right? In other words, begin again. Be prepared to start again every single morning. I found I was getting overwhelmed I've got a little study area here, and that's become my sort of pantry. And I was getting overwhelmed. There was no sort of plan to the pantry. And I'm going, okay, I just need to stop everything and just spend a little bit of time in here and reorganize things. And I did. And I was very grateful for that. And it worked. And so, I had to start the whole design of the pantry area again. And, there's that other part of me that's going, you're not going to be in here that long. And I'm going, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're not leaving yet. Get it organized. You need to get it organized. So I want you to be willing this week to have that feeling of, yeah, it's not perfect, but I can start it again and just do it better this time, with more intelligence this time, with more understanding this time. Barbara Shaw said, you can learn new things at any time in your life if you're willing to be a beginner. If you actually learn like being a beginner. In fact, actually to learn to like being a beginner, the whole world opens up to you. So let me ask you something. Is there something you've always wanted to be able to cook? Right? Or something that you used to cook and you haven't done it for the longest time. Time to start again. And I was looking at Jody at the pavlova thing, and that's, was on my list to do, and I got sick. So this week I'm going to definitely give pavlova a try, and then try and make it without real sugar. That would be the next thing. Yes, and isn't that true? Trina is reminding us all that we need to have that feeling of gratefulness in terms of being grateful for how lucky we are to have a new day every day. So many people now haven't. And remember to be grateful for that every morning. Start every morning by going, wow, I woke up, I am so grateful, because around the world, so many people won't have that. Louis L'Amour, who is the author of many cowboy books, I seem to remember, said there will come a time when you believe that everything is finished. And that will be the beginning. Jody, I think of you because when I think about it, as I've said many times before, when I met you, I had a feeling that you thought your life was finished. And look at you now. All you needed was somebody to remind you that you still had another day in you, another 2 days, maybe another year or two, or whatever it takes. How about this one? Mandy Hale said, change can be scary, but you know what is scarier? Allowing fear to stop you from growing, evolving, and progressing. I am pretty certain that a number of my viewers are fearful on hearing that the COVID has a new couple of strains to it now, and that those strains are even more transmittable than the original one. And therefore, an awful lot more people are going to get infected. But if we let that fear stop us from growing, if we let that fear stop us from progressing, then we will live in terror. So here is the thing: be more careful. If you got a bit lax about washing your hands after you've been out, or if you've been a bit lax about wearing your mask or whatever, start again. Pretend it's the first time. And I am now double masking when I go out. I wear a full mask and a ventilated mask, and then I wear a screen on top of that, shield. And I do not leave my house without a disinfectant wet wipe in my hand. And I carry disinfectant, a little bottle of disinfectant, like a travel size one, on my keychain. So that hi Jeannie, good to see you. So be doubly careful. Feel in control of your ability to keep yourself safe. And by the way, I did something the other day, which I was already, I have an elevator in this building, and there was already another person in the elevator, but the elevator is pretty big, so that was fine. But we stopped on a floor and somebody wanted to come in, and I actually said, no, we already have 2 people in this elevator, please wait. And they looked at me like they wanted to kill me, but it was just like, I have the right to say that. You cannot have 3 people socially distanced in an elevator. 2, yes. And preferably not even 2, but if it has to happen, then so be it. But 3, you cannot be 6 feet apart. So no, I'm sorry. And it's an enclosed space as well. So not interested. So I wonder what new things you're going to do, and let's hear about them if you've got any. Are you doing any new things to protect yourself even more from COVID? Knowing that even as the vaccine arrives, it still could be a long time before we're safe. Kimmy's saying, I have refused friends that have come to my door. Yes. And that's, it'll be uncomfortable for them, but it is the right thing to do. Well done. And by the way, I was going to go and deliver something to a friend, and she stopped me from doing it. So I, didn't take it personally. I understood. And Kimmy's saying she's going to stay home as much as possible. Yes. Choose to stay home and be safe if you can. Jim Rohn said, your life does not get better by chance. It gets better by change. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to be really aware what it is that you feel needs to change in your house, whatever that is, in your living environment, what needs to change in your health, what needs to change in your entertainment. You keep thinking this is January. This is a time to start putting some things in place. Yes, Trina says one of the ways she keeps herself safe is to go around as if everybody has got it. Yes, think that way. Think everybody that you see has got the virus. Now, what are you going to do? How far do you want to stay away from them? You know, and I find if I just go in the car and go and collect my mail at the other house and come back, I don't do it. But if I get into an environment where I'm close to other people, I come back and throw all my clothes into the washer. How about you guys? Tell me what you're doing about your clothes when you come in from being around people. Jody's saying we're practicing the same protocol, however, trying not to become complacent. Yes, keep starting again. Yes, and Jeannie's saying congratulations to Autumn on the twins. Yes, isn't that wonderful? We're very delighted. The little babies. Well, I'm sure that she's going to be really busy, but I was so grateful that she, you know, took the time to send us the photograph. I thought that was so kind of her. Jody's saying the clothes go right into the wash. Yeah. And again, I find that if I've been around other people that I know it sounds strange, but I take wet wipes and I literally wet wipe my hair if I am, you know, not ready to jump into a shower. And I wash my hands, I wash my glasses, I wash my shield. And there we go. And Kimmy's saying, I try to stay 6 feet away if I can. There are people who will walk past me in the store with no mask on. Yep, that's a risk we all face. I've always said that you can stay, but you know, if you're walking on a pavement and a sidewalk, you know, and somebody walks this way, you're not going to be 6 feet apart. And God forbid if they cough. So do what you can to protect yourself. Trina's saying, yes, clothes and sanitize all groceries. Okay, so think about that. Think what you can do, just, you know, smarten up a bit more. Could save your life. Each day has a new beginning, the chance to do with it what should be done, and not to see it as another day just to put in time. And I think that's a good thing to remember. How do you feel about the time that you waste every day? Think about that. How much time? I'm beginning to get frustrated with myself when I fall into the trap of watching one more movie, or not movie, one more, you know, video or whatever. And if it's not, I mean, I can say, okay, it's time for me to chill now, in which case that's a good time to do it. But I find that when it's time that I should be doing other things, I'm beginning to get, no, Sal, you know, you can do that later if you want to, but not now. You need to get on with your life right now. And I found a new game that I'm playing that has occupied a lot of my time. And that's fine. But now what I'm doing is I'm strategically playing it in such a way that I can't do anything for another hour, you know. And that gives me an hour to go and do things. And then the reward is I can come back and take the next step. Makes sense. So I am trying really hard to be strategic about that. All right, so Kimmy's saying she sanitizes all her groceries and takes her shoes off. What do you do with your shoes? Do you clean them? Good point. I've never asked anybody that. What do you guys do about your shoes when you come back into the house? Okay, so you do sanitize them. And, it's a really good idea to maybe have some vinegar and water, maybe with a couple of drops of nice essence in it, and just spritz them. That would work. Kimmy's saying she does hers with the sanitized wipes. Now, do you make your own disinfectant wipes, guys? Trina's saying where she is in Ireland, security won't let you into a store if you're not wearing a mask. Because Kim was saying that there are signs up to say wear a mask, but people in the States are not, some of them are not wearing them. Well, this is the difference. In Ireland, you're not wearing a mask, you don't get into a store. Yeah, they don't, it's like not a maybe. If you're not wearing a mask, you don't get to go in the store, end of story. So yes, I think having a disinfectant spray, which you can make your own, you don't have to spend a lot of money. I am remaking my own disinfectant wipes, by the way. When I come in, the disinfectant wipes I've used, guess where they're going to go now? In here. And I'm going to wash them with, we know the bugs don't like soap, so I'm going to wash them in disinfectant soap, rinse them, and then hang them to dry, and then I will put them in disinfectant to reuse. Yes, and that's the thing about America, Kim. They're not enforcing, or have not been enforcing, these basic rules that will help, save everybody. And I'm afraid that too often in America they're quoting their amendment rights and so forth. But the truth is that if you want to manage this pandemic, you are going to have people wearing masks. And I am hoping that America will smarten up and start not making it a choice, making it mandatory. That's, I'm sorry to say that, because in other countries, yes, Trina's saying hopefully Biden will start that. But he'll be very unpopular, and there will still be people that will quote their amendment rights to not do that. But I think it's then up to the stores to say, we choose not to let you in. It's our store. And, we choose to protect our customers. And I think you're going to start to see that happen more in the States. Yes, and Jodi's saying, and that is one of the reasons why our numbers are where they are. If you think about it, that is the whole thing, all right? Unless America gets serious about this, you are not only going to be the most infected country, but you're going to spread it more than anybody else. And I want to tell you, living next door to you, I am angry about that. I don't mind telling you. Nothing I can do about it. I can't force you. But I'm angry because it's stopping me from visiting Benji, Judy, and the children. Because I know I would put myself at risk. We're not allowed to cross the border anyway at the moment. But, it's just like, smarten up, guys. Please. I'm beginning to get scared. I don't mind telling you that. I'm beginning to get scared if I'll even see them again. I have yet to meet baby Leah. And that to me is really scary. Let's hope I will. So if we think about this today, and this week particularly, that every moment is a fresh beginning. Every moment you can choose to go, okay, fine, I haven't finished tidying up the kitchen. I'm going to give it another go. Let me see how far I can get. And Kimmy's saying, people make fun of me and tell me we're all going to die someday anyway. Well, yeah, let them make fun of you, Kim. Let them make fun of you. And I would answer it by saying, yes, that is true. I hope I'm not at your funeral. Well, actually, I won't allowed to be there anyway. But, it's like, we're all dying anyway. I've got friends of mine who feel that way. But I want to tell you something. The ones I really care about, they don't feel that way. The ones I really care about are so concerned not to give it to me. And I think that is just delightful. Oprah said, breathe, let go, and remind yourself that this very moment is the one you know you have for sure. So as we go towards saying goodbye today, well, for this broadcast, we'll see you again later, but think about that. Between the two broadcasts, let's see, what is it you would like to do? What little plan do you have for the next few hours until we start our 7 o'clock Pacific time broadcast on coping with life? Who are you going to call? What are you going to do? I'm definitely going to clean up the kitchen. And I'm going to check out my gizmo. And so, to me, it's like, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to eating. I am trying to work out, I don't know if I told you this, but I read somewhere that Anderson Cooper eats the same thing every day because he has found out what he can eat every day. And he now eats that every day. Now, that sounds really boring, doesn't it? But he knows that if he eats that diet, whatever, that group of foods every day, he's not going to put on weight. He's going to stay the same weight. He's going to have to think. He doesn't have to worry about the shopping list, right? Because he knows exactly what to buy. And then his days that, if he goes out to dinner or something, he can do so easily. Why? Because he comes back to that same routine. So I wonder if any of you have do that. Trina says, it's 10 o'clock at night here. I'm going to have a pink gin and tonic. Trina, it's always such a pleasure to have you here. And here I am drinking. By the way, if you put a couple of, this is, every day I do fresh filtered water that I make, and then I drop a couple of pieces of the ends of an orange in. And if you look very carefully, I don't know if you can see it, but it's amazing how the little bits of orange infiltrate the water. And it just doesn't taste like regular water. So Jody, thank you. So, Trina, good to see you, and cheers, enjoy your pink gin. By the way, do you all know what a pink gin is? It's gin with bitters. Am I correct on that, Trina? All right, it's always a pleasure to see you here, Trina. So here's the thing. Begin today again as we finish the broadcast. And take a little bit of time. How about the first hour after the broadcast to do something? So by the time we get to this evening, you can say, I did it. I tidied this up, or I played with this, or I did whatever. And so by the time we see you this evening, you will have some accomplishment. This is DearMamaSal saying, coping with feelings is probably the fastest way you can turn your life around. If you can cope with your feelings, you will be a happier person. If you can tell the truth about your feelings, you are an emotionally healthier person. And quite honestly, we need to get even better at this, because I think the times will get much more difficult before they get better. And I am going to hopefully be here to hold your hand along the way as we together, not alone, together, keep turning the pages of this year. This is DearMamaSal saying, love you dearly, look after yourselves, And we'll see you tonight at 7 Pacific. Bye bye for now.